I know how that sounds, but please hear me out. I have been together with my wife for 11 years, married for 4, and we have a 3-year-old son together. Our history goes like this. I met her when she had just turned 20, and I was 29 at the time. We both come from very humble families. I have always been pretty mature, so by the time I met her, I already had good savings, a stable job, a college degree, a car, in good shape, etc. She was the opposite, which was understandable for a girl of her age and class, which was the norm from where we come from. So, I basically took her under my wing. I tried to teach her that if she was determined in life, she could accomplish many things, many of which I had already accomplished. I tried to keep her away from any type of bad influence and tried to teach her good life lessons, like showing her that savings are important and whatnot, and while it was fine to party from time to time, it was important to keep an eye on things that could potentially drive her away from her goals. I helped her financially, emotionally, and personally through all this. While doing all this, she got her college degree, she got a job, she became the woman I wanted her to be. But unconsciously, my manipulative behavior, although unintended, created some type of stereotype of me in her mind, to the point that deep inside, she saw how controllable I was with many of the things she wanted to do. Fast forward to today, this has created numerous communication issues between us because she was not always honest with me about what she wanted. She acknowledged everything I said, even if she had a different opinion. I was blindsided all the time, as I thought what I was doing was good for both of us. Because of those arguments over time, we became uninterested in intimacy, which created greater issues. We had a big argument a couple of weeks ago, and I asked her to leave. There was no infidelity or physical harm on either side. Upon realizing what I did, I tried to reconcile with her, but I was confronted with her true reality. She didn't feel the same way with me anymore. The man she admired the most was gone, and she felt that even my kisses didn't feel the same way. She had long awaited for me to make the step to ask her to leave, as she had been longing for it for a long time. She says that she wants to have her own place, with her own rules, and be single. I tried to beg her multiple times over the last few weeks, only to be told the same thing. Now, I am sitting in this fog trying to cope with all of this and don't know what to do. I have confessed and admitted to all the wrongdoings throughout our relationship, and I told her that those things, if she would let me, I can work on them and make her happy again. Update 1. So, long story short, I found out the hard way that my wife cheated on me. We had been experiencing problems since the end of last year, and something deep in my heart always told me that it might come to an end. I kept hope and pushed and kept fighting nonetheless. We got into 2 very big arguments, the first of which happened in January, during which I told her that if something like this were to happen again, she would have to leave the house. Then, around March, the same thing happened, and I asked her to leave, only to beg her to come back a few days later. She did with my insistence, and I did this because I could not see myself without her. On both occasions, she told me that she just went out with her sisters and fell asleep at their house. I never actually doubted her explanation back then. I just got angry because she did so, something that I saw as disrespectful in itself for her not to come home. After the first incident in January, I actually started working towards repairing our relationship, and we made good progress. We started doing things we weren't doing before, we started to have more intimacy, etc. Overall, we were getting better, and I was happy, and I thought she was too. One unusual thing caught my attention during that period. She put a fingerprint lock on her phone. I had never seen her use a PIN or fingerprint before. When I confronted her about it, she claimed it was for security in case her phone got stolen. I, being familiar with IT, found this explanation hard to believe, but I went along with it and acknowledged it. This action fueled some doubts within myself. Fast forward to last Wednesday, unable to endure the uncertainty any longer, I decided to check her phone, having added my own fingerprint. What I discovered shattered my world. My wife had an affair on both occasions with the same man. First in January, on the exact date she did not come home, and then in March, on the day I asked her to leave. Even more agonizing is that I found out she had a pregnancy test done 15 days after the first encounter back in January. I uncovered so many disgusting things that it makes me feel sick to my stomach. I feel perplexed, confused, angry, betrayed, and every other emotion you could imagine. I have not eaten or slept since Wednesday, just thinking that everything was over. I cannot get over the reasoning for her causing me so much pain. Sometimes, I feel like I want to speak to her and tell her everything, but deep down, I know it won't change anything. I understand that I have to leave and move on with my life, but it seems like an insurmountable task. The pain is overwhelming, and I don't know what to do, to be honest. Despite having a great support group of family and friends, none of it seems to alleviate my feelings. She was my world, and now it's over. I love my son, but this fact doesn't diminish the pain I feel. I am beyond devastated. Update 2. So, I am basically 3 weeks in since I found out about it. Upon discovering and kicking her out, I implemented a no-contact policy with her, only talking about our kid. Unfortunately, I have to wait 3 months before I file for divorce. Over the course of the days and weeks, I have felt bad, with panic attacks everywhere, thinking about the whys and whatnot. From all of this, the only thing I keep thinking of is the well-being of my kid. His mother and I belong to different social classes, in the sense that I am somewhat between middle to upper class, and her family is between lower to middle, so this imposes a different environment for our kid. When he is with me, I provide him with a very different environment than when he is with her. For obvious reasons, I try to impose a more strict and moral environment for him than she does. So, on the Saturday before last, I couldn't help but tell her over text, after dropping him off for swimming classes, that I believed our kid would be much better in the environment that I provide. I mentioned that I didn't have any issues with her picking him up whenever she wanted, but I strongly believed that living with me would be his best option. She did not agree with that and told me that by agreeing to that, she would basically be waving her son to me, which I told her I did not see it like that. Anyway, we agreed on some middle ground, where our kid would spend time with me daily and sleep over at her place. While we were talking and she was picking up her clothes, she tried to bring up some arguments regarding our situation, which I tried to steer away from. Nevertheless, we ended up talking about it anyway. I really couldn't help it, I still had feelings for her. We cried together, we said that we didn't see our lives with us being together, and I asked her many questions. I told her I didn't know how we could have ended up like this. Somehow, I believe she wanted me to stop her from grabbing her clothes to put into a bag, but I didn't do it. I let her do it and even helped her. In the end, when she was about to leave the house, I couldn't help but ask for a hug, and we did, and she was crying and told me that she didn't want to leave. Yesterday, she reached out to me via text and asked me how I am doing. I answered with just a bland okay. She then proceeded to ask me how I am doing overall and how I feel about her. I have kept my cool all this time, but these two questions really got to me. I couldn't hold it anymore and told her everything about how miserable my life has been for the last 3 weeks, the appetite, the sleepless nights, everything. That I didn't hate her or can't develop any resentment towards her because, all in all, she is the mother of my son. She then proceeded to open up, among many things. She told me that she will always be there for me, that she expects me to forgive her and she feels horrible for it, that she misses me and loves me. That she knows she betrayed me, and that it's going to be difficult, but not impossible to forgive her, because she will give me what she didn't give before. Trust, honesty, and respect. She told me that she is willing to give up on me if it is for my well-being, even if that would mean that she will be hurt for life. I ended the conversation there as I was busy at work and suggested we continue later. So now I am basically full of questions and doubts. I know and understand what I should do, but I can't stop worrying about my little kid's future. I had a session with my therapist today, who is religious, and I shared this with her, and she is all in for reconciliation. I told her that I really doubt I will be able to forgive, but she insisted that it is and will be possible. She told me something really that got to my heart, along the lines of, it is your decision, but you need to understand that the path you choose now is the right path for you and your family, and that you will not regret in the future if you could have tried it.